close did you get to realizing what you wanted out of tempo last year?
We were just having that discussion. It's kind of like there's two theories. You go hunting. Sometimes it's ready, shoot, aim. I'm more of a ready, aim, shoot guy. So I like to know where they are before we just come running off the ball. So I think tempo has a place in football, and a good place, and it stresses the defense. But I don't want it to be 100% tempo. I want the quarterback to know what's going on and identify things, and the offensive line to identify things, and then we would like to manipulate our formations a little bit more to create some confusion. So if you're doing that, you're not just lining up, going. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Will there be much that changes from an offensive line standpoint with Sean leaving and Eric coming in?
Well, we're going to be, obviously the system is in place. Every coach has their method of teaching. I think both of them are energetic and tough football coaches. So I think that'll be similar, but I think our communication will be different and will increase.
What did you see that first half against Clemson? Did y'all come out with a little bit of a different style, and did it just not quite work?
No, we came out aggressive. We knew they were going to be a press man team, and we wanted to try to attack that coverage, and we came out aggressive, and obviously they're a talented football team, and we didn't have success with the football down the field.
How was he mentally after that? When he had the knee and then had some problems on the field, did it take him longer than usual to kind of recover from that mentally?
I don't think so. I think if we'd have had to play a game the next week, he would have got himself ready to go, and you go from there. I think the biggest thing for quarterbacks, they ask me, I'm asked quite a bit on what's the most important attribute of a quarterback, and it's mental toughness. You're going to have days like that, and you better respond, and Jake is built that way.
What did you learn about his makeup last year?
I think about midway through the season, we start having these conversations. The thing that I did know about him is that he was a competitor, and it was important to him. And as you play, you see that competitive nature on the field, and it's really there. He's an ultimate competitor.
What was your part in the decision to take the red shirt off of him? Where were you in those conversations?
Sure, that's Coach Muschamp and I talk about it every week, and when you're not having a whole lot of success, then that position's talked about quite a bit. And so it was just a conversation that we had going into the bye week and went from there.
Does it help having his dad here, and how do you manage that dynamic? That's got to be a little unusual.
I don't know that it helps in that sense. The dynamic is, Bobby's a professional, and he does a great job, and so I guess that's how the dynamic is managed. We don't really, it doesn't come up when you go in and you start watching practice tape and you're critiquing and making adjustments. Then you talk like he's anybody, like his father's not in the room, and I try to be honest with the evaluation, and you handle it professionally. Now there's some good-natured ribbing at times, taking shots, at Bobby and those type things, but it really is no different than any staff I've ever been on.
Was there a moment last year where you saw Jake do something or say something or react to something where you thought, okay, the lights come on, this kid really gets it, and he's gonna be what we thought he was?
Well, I don't know that there was just one moment. I think it's still a growth in process. I think he still has a lot to learn and improve as a quarterback. We haven't reached the end game on this yet. He needs to keep improving. But when I said, okay, this guy's a football player, the moment that hit me was the touchdown he threw to Brian in the Tennessee game on that slant. It's just the speed of the game. How fast he was able to process it mentally, how fast he was able to do it physically, and then accurately. I mean, it was an impressive play.
How everybody talks about his maturity. What, you know, we talked about last year, he was supposed to be a high school senior, but he acts like he's maybe a junior or senior out there. How much does that help?
I think that's where, you know, obviously Bobby comes into play. When you grow up a coach's son around this game, that matures you faster, and the level of responsibility, accountability that's being taught all the time on a football team, you know, he was living it in his daily life. And so I think that definitely helped him. Now, we give him a hard time about, you know, everybody says he should be a high school senior. He's older than Brandon McElwain. You know, we give Bobby a hard time. Bobby, did you redshirt him twice in high school? You know?
How much does his ability allow you, and I know you got talent all over the field and young guys, but opening up the offense this year, and you got to be excited about the possibilities of what you can do with the wide receivers and running backs, and now you got a quarterback who can sling downfield.
That's what I was saying earlier when we started our off-season conditioning program. I think the thing that helps more than anything is I watch the guys. It's like any off-season conditioning program. You're trying to get in better shape and develop your leadership and your mental toughness and all this thing. But when I look around and I go, well, I know that guy can play. Well, I know that guy can play. And this time last year, you're going, well, I hope that guy can play, and I hope that guy can play. And so that's where we are, you know, going into the second year, and then understanding our system.
You're not evaluating quarterbacks to come play here. What are some of the main factors, criteria that go into saying, hey, this is a guy we want to hone in on? And
you know, it's an interesting conversation because it's all encompassing, and I think where you start is physically. You know, what you look, the first thing that you're able to see, because it's tape, is the physical abilities of the guy. So, is he a big guy? This is a big man's game. So is he a big guy? Is he accurate? Can he move his feet? Is he athletic? You know, you look at all those things, and then the most important thing to me, once you break down, when you say, okay, the guy is big enough, he's accurate enough, he can move well enough, you start diving into, is he mentally tough? Is football important to him? Can I trust this guy? You know, you look at those type things all through recruiting, but it's a all-encompassing process mentally and physically and developing these guys. And so I think you're looking for the right fit on your football team that has the ability to throw the football.
And when you say trust, I guess you mean like on the field and off the field, doing
Absolutely,
all the
everything. So here's how I say it. If you decide to play quarterback, you haven't picked a position, you've picked a lifestyle. So, and what I mean by that is there's a lot of guys out there that really enjoy Saturday but don't like Monday through Friday a whole bunch, or Sunday through Friday. We got to have guys that like Sunday through Friday, preparing on their own, watching tape on their own, growing as a quarterback. I kind of want that guy sitting in, when he's sitting around by himself, or sometimes in class when his mind wanders, I want it to wander to football. Does that make sense? Jake Bentley's the kind of guy that might be in physics class and go, ooh, what if this happens on this protection? That's a good thing for me, if that makes sense. And so that's what you're wanting, a guy that loves the game and loves the process of the game. Doesn't just love Saturday, but loves being a quarterback. That would rather come over and watch tape on a Thursday night than go hang out with his friends. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
It seems to me, having gotten to know Jay Urich a little bit, that he checks a lot of those boxes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He obviously is a high character individual, comes from a great family. He's big, he's athletic, he has a strong arm, and he's a guy that I have a lot of trust in.
He took over last year as a really young guy, and you would think that would be difficult to go out on the field and lead a football team. But it seemed like it wasn't a problem for him. Why was that?
You know, I think it's his personality. He's an energetic, passionate, competitive individual, and I think people gravitate to that. You know, they obviously enjoy being around guys that are like that.
So the team clearly, the offense clearly knows he's the guy, he's the leader now.
Well, I think you obviously have more than one leader on your football team, and I believe leadership first is through work habits. The first thing you do is you go out and work hard every day, and so we've got several guys that are going to do that, but Jake is definitely one of those guys.